welcome into the box score. We've got 8 weeks down, 3 to go. Justin, filling in for Murph today, and we appreciate you doing that.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. I know we're 8 weeks into regular season football. We got 8 weeks left of football if you include all the playoffs all the way through.
That is for sure, and so I guess we're technically at the halfway point. And, you know, it'd be exciting if some of our teams made that journey to the Blue Cross Bowl in Chattanooga.
Listen, I think that we've got some who have the potential, who have the opportunity. We've got a couple of them who are at the top of the region standings that we'll look later on. So I think that there's a lot of hope that we will see some advancing pretty deep in the playoffs this year.
That would be exciting for sure. Of course, when you look at Gordonsville, they've been there before. They've won it. Smith County, the furthest they've ever got to the semifinals, and everybody's already plotting their path, I guess you could say. But you know, Matt Dyer's got his team focused, saying, hey, we've got to win these last 2 region games.
Yeah. Hey, if I know Coach Dyer, I know his mentality going into it is going to be 1-0 this week, and then 1-0 in week 11, and finish out that season strong and take it week by week.
Let's go ahead and look at the Cumberland County at DeKalb County game, the Huff and Puff Trucking game of the week. DeKalb wins it. And Justin, when you look at DeKalb County, you know, they dominate this game on the offensive side, 403 yards to 151. I guess the 2 fumbles hurt them, but a big night for DeKalb to keep their playoff hopes alive.
You know, I talked to Coach Trapp before the game, and one of the questions that I had as part of our pregame discussion was, how important is this game leading into the final 2 games? They're off this week, and then they've got to have a win in their final 2 games. But he said it all starts right here, right now. He said this game, you know, those final 2 games don't matter if we don't win this one. We got to keep our playoff hopes alive by capitalizing on this. And boy, did they come out, and they did not slow down.
Let's go ahead and look at the individual stats for DeKalb County. Bria Strapp, 15 of 18, very efficient, 218 passing yards, 5 touchdowns, 12 carries for 75 yards, so nearly 300 yards of offense for him. Marquez Chalfont, 6 receptions, 127 yards, 3 TDs. Malachi Trapp, 10 rushes, 102 yards. For Cumberland County, Bryson Wilson leads the way with 27 yards passing and 57 yards rushing. And then Jordan Probst, 19 carries for 49 yards. But overall, a dominating performance by the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. From the beginning through the end, you know, Chalfont was our player of the game, and one thing that was pretty notable about him is he started 3 for 3 with touchdowns on each reception, all 25-plus yards on each of them, and he didn't slow down after that.
You know, Smith County was fortunate they didn't see him early in the season when we played him because he was hurt. And then, of course, Bria's got hurt that game. Malachi got hurt the game before. So, you know, injuries, DeKalb has lost some people for short periods of time, but when they're healthy, you know, they're forced to be reckoned with. They play some teams in Region 4-4A awfully close.
Yeah, they put those 3. They're on the board, the 3 that you mentioned. When they've got them on the field at any given time, any one of those 3 are playmakers and can make the big play for them.
Let's go ahead and look at Smith County traveling up to Gainsborough and getting their region win to go to 3-0. Smith County scored all 40 of those points in the first half. They held Jackson County to only 1 first down, which came with 1:50 to go in the game. Jackson County had 18 rushes in the game for -1 yard. They did have 20 yards passing, but a great night for the defense, who also came up with 4 turnovers.
You know, I know you look at that and you see those offensive statistics, and you know, there's a lot more players than what's up there than we could have listed, because that was a very well-rounded effort by the Smith County team. So offensively, they did great. But when you look at that stat line, 19 yards of offense total given up and 1 first down through 4 quarters of play, I know Coach Harville was really, really pleased with the Owls defense.
Definitely was, and you know, they were on point. And even the B team, which played the entire second half and a little bit of the second quarter, was on point, flying around and getting turnovers and giving their offense opportunities. They didn't cash in as they got inside the 10 twice, but a big night for Smith County. And I think Matt's, you know, driving force all week, hey, we got to focus on Jackson County. We can't look ahead to Westmoreland. We can't look ahead to Monterey. Let's go 1-0 this week. That's his, that's his saying. And do that, they get to 6-2. They kind of get that a loss, taste out. Now they return home for 2 home games, which could set up for a playoff run where they play 3 in a row in Carthage in the first 3 rounds of playoffs.
We were able to experience that and be there for a couple games last year in the hole there, and it's a phenomenal atmosphere in Carthage, in the hole. When you're in at the end of October, November for playoff games, it's an atmosphere that's uncomparable to just about anything else you can experience.
Gordonsville Red Bowling. Gordonsville goes on the road, beats Red Bowling 49-19. Jay Foster, big night, 7 of 7, 124 passing yards, a couple of touchdowns, 1 rush for 58 yards, another score. Bryson Grissom, 16 rushes for 123 yards and a touchdown. Dalton Hancock had a couple of touchdowns on 4 receptions for 94 yards. Red Bowling, a much improved team, I might add, 8 of 14 for 87 passing yards for Aiden Link, 2 touchdowns, an interception. Of course, Aubrey Link, which is his brother, is the other quarterback for Red Bowling, but Joseph Birdwell had a big night for the Bulldogs, 6 receptions for 121 yards. That sets up a Clay County versus Gordonsville game in the final regular season in Tigertown. That's going to be for the region championship.
And how many seasons in a row have we seen that be the game at the end of the year that matters? Looking at Gordonsville, got to admire the efficiency of Jay Foster in that game. Didn't have a single pass that he threw off mark or that his receivers dropped, and the 1 rush that he put where he ran with his feet, he managed to scamper for 58 yards in. I know they're dealing with some injuries too, Gordonsville is, and they're still managing to put up some numbers, and they've had other players step up in place of those. So I'm glad to see that Gordonsville is keeping on, chugging on, and playing with that next man up attitude.
Cannon County at Notre Dame, they went to Chattanooga, did the lines, and when you look at Notre Dame, of course, that's a pretty long trip. 22 rushes for 174 yards, a couple touchdowns from Mr. Carter. And Mr. Campbell, 16 of 25, 216 passing yards, 3 touchdowns for Cannon County. Braden Smithson, 16 rushes for 56 yards. He also 1 reception for 17 yards and a score. But Tucker Kine always seems to make the stat list. 5 catches, 116 yards and a touchdown. Kobe Miller, 8 for 21, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an INT.
Yeah, it's just 2 weeks in a row that Cannon County's went up against a team that had some loaded players on offense. Notre Dame only came in that game with a couple wins, but they are a Division II Class AA team. So the level of play that they're used to is a little bit different. Cannon County's gaining experience, though. They're going up. They're playing this stiffer competition. And, I think in the long run, while their record may not show it, these kids are getting better in these games, and we see that they are still able to perform. And, this is going to pay off in the long run for that Lions program.
We'll look at the region scores when we return to the box score, sponsored by Carthage Safeway.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
Neighbors help each other. It's how community works. And it's how we do business at DTC. You can count on us for internet, TV, and phone, backed by local support.
For a limited time, get 1 month free when you add or upgrade your internet package. Enjoy internet speed that can keep up with all you do.
DTC. We're working hard to be a good neighbor.
Hello, I'm Bruce Daniel. I've lived in Cannon County all my life. For the last 59 years, I've only made it across the highway. I married my wife, Melody, in 1981. We hauled our first load of freight in 1983 with 1 truck and a couple old barred trailers. We found a way to make it. Our employees are the backbone of our company. Some of our team members have been with us for more than 30 years.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for chief geologist, general mine foreman, mine engineer, graduate mining engineer, electrical superintendent, mobile superintendent, mine supervisor, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to the Box Score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway. Justin Malden filling in for Murphy Fair, and let's go ahead and look at a lot of games. We got a lot of information here for us. You got the Sonica Carthage scores, Region 4 1A, Harpeth over Joe Burns, Gordonsville gets the win over Red Bowling, open date Clay County. I don't know anything is much upsets there.
No, I think that's about what we expected, where the lay of the land was. Nothing too surprising.
Looking the standings, Gordonsville sitting there at 2-0, Clay County 1-0. Clay County, I think, still has Red Bowling. I think Clay County's played Joe Burns, one or the other. But it looks like those two teams are going to clash for the region championship in week 11 in Gordonsville. Red Bowling Springs, as you can see, has scored a lot of points. They've got a 4-3 mark. Joe Burns has really struggled at 1-7. Red Bowling's and Joe Burns still has to play. The winner of that is going to be third, the loser is going to be fourth.
Yeah, looking at their Gordonsville, Clay County both started 0-2 this season. I don't think anybody saw that happening, and since then they are both playing fantastic ball. All four of these teams making the playoffs. So we're checking out the region standings. We know at this point, unless there's an upset, it's going to be Gordonsville, Clay County playing for that region title at the end of the year again. And I don't remember where it's at this year.
I think it's at Gordonsville. The past year was at Clay County because Gordonsville had to go up there twice. Looking at the Region 3 2A scores, East Robinson on Thursday night beat Trusty County 35-0. Smith County a big win over Jackson County, Monterey, and Westmoreland with the byes. Looking at the standings, Smith County on top at 3-0, East Robinson 3-1. When you look at it, Monterey has got Trousdale County this week. If Trousdale County beats Monterey, then all Smith County's got to do is beat Westmoreland, and they're the region champs, because in any tie where if Monterey beat them in the final week, they would be tied with East Robinson, who only has Jackson County left. So I know Matt Dyer don't want to chance that, but still, it's good to have that insurance policy in your pocket.
Yeah, you want home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So we're going to look at the Region 4 2A standings here in a second. So we're going to flip-flop to the other side. And the top four are going to play the top four in Region 4 2A. And when we see that, we're going to see some quality football over there. And you want to maintain that top spot if you absolutely can to get a little bit easier ride to the potential quarterfinals.
Let's look at Region 4 2A Sonica Carthage scores. Marion County a struggle, but they win it 21-12 over Forest. Sequatchie County gets the win over Community, Monterey over Cascade, and Notre Dame over Cannon County. So when you look at that, let's go ahead and look at the standings. You've got Marion County sitting on top there at 2-0, Cascade at 1-0, but I think Marion County, I know they're 8-0, but it looks like they're the cream of the crop over there.
Yeah, I was a little surprised by the score this week for Marion County and Forest, and I actually double-checked it because it was a one-possession game, that it was that close. I hadn't been able to dive in to see exactly why that was, but other than that close game, Marion County's got 3 or 4 shutouts this season. Their defense isn't giving up very many points either, and I think they're the team to beat in Region 4 2A. And when we're talking about those Region 3 2A standings, I don't think you want to be in that number 4 spot come the first round of the playoffs.
Justin, it sets up a matchup if Smith County can take care of business and win at home these last 2 games. Marion County would be hosting East Robertson, which is 2 top 10 ranked teams in the second round of the playoffs in Jasper, which a lot of people say, boy, that's one I'm going to circle on my calendar to try and go to, because that should be a phenomenal game if things play out like we think they will.
Yeah, and it's not too often that close to the beginning of the playoffs you get those kind of matchups against each other. You mentioned 2 top 10 programs, but one of them's going to be out pretty close to the beginning of the playoffs because of the level of play that's concentrated in these two regions.
Let's go ahead and look at Region 4 3A scores. Giles County continues to roll 56-6 over Grundy County. Sequatchie, a big over community. Watertown had the open day. Let's go ahead and look at the region standings now. Sequatchie and Giles, they're kind of on a collision course. The only thing about Giles County, 2 quality losses. Sequatchie County, Justin, has been up and down.
Yeah, they're kind of a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde this season. You don't know quite what you're going to get with them, and in order for them to be successful as we get to the end of the season, the end of the playoffs, they're going to have to find that identity and pick one of them and stay with them so that they can stay on track.
You look at Watertown, I think they've got Grundy County and Community left, so they could get that number 3 seed, although they are going to be on the road because they've already lost to Sequatchie and Giles County. So Watertown be on the road in that first round, but like we have said before, them going to Region 3A, which is the Chattanooga area, Watertown, I think, would have a chance of knocking off the number 2 team out of that Region 3.
Yeah, Watertown is tougher than they look. We talked about, we think about their schedule. When you look at it and you see the quality competition that they play, they got that 2-5 record. 3 of those losses are to either 4A or a 6A school. And that's tough, but that's going to build you up and prepare you when you have to go on the road in the first round of the playoffs. They got to travel a little bit. Traveling is nothing new to them this season, so they're going to be used to the travel, but they're going to be battle tested too.
You look at Watertown, they played Sequatchie tooth and nail. They didn't play their best game when they went to Dunlap and lost. Not that they'll get to see Sequatchie County again, but the one thing, if you've got a team that is road tested, which Watertown is, they're looking at a lot of times an hour and 15 minutes, an hour and a half when they travel to their region. So when they do that in the playoffs, Justin, it's not like, we've never done this before.
Yeah, they're not, that bus ride, they're used to it. They're not having to worry about getting distracted or falling asleep. They know how to stay focused and how to keep their body. Probably the biggest issue is when you sit on the bus that long and you get off the bus to go get dressed and get warmed up. They're used to it, know how to handle it.
Let's go ahead and look at some scores from Region 4 4A. You got York Institute over Stone Memorial, 14-7. That's York remains undefeated. A lot of people looking for them to at least get to the semifinals where they got a year ago before they lost. I think it was Chattanooga Brainerd that beat them in that semifinal game in Chattanooga. Of course, this year, York saying, hey, we're going to get to stay at home throughout the playoffs, and we need to, keep the task at hand. I think York's 8-0, 7-0, 8-0, something like that. They beat some quality teams, Justin. They're a team that's got to be reckoned with.
This was a game that I had been watching and waiting for because this was going to be the test to see is York the real deal or not. And when Stone came in there and they were able to hold their own, it's a close score on the board, but to be able to hold Stone Memorial to 7 points, Stone Memorial has a quality defense too. They've got it. They're great on both sides of the ball. They're a much larger school, and again, a top-ranked 4A team. That's a very big win for York and should give them a lot of confidence as this season comes to a close.
Making big over Livingston last Thursday, 35-0. White County beats a CAK out of Knoxville, 41-7, and 42-0. Cumberland County DeKalb beats Cumberland County. Upman with the by Upman sitting on top there at 4-0. Of course, they've got that win over Macon. They got you got Stone Memorial at 4-0. Those two teams are going to collide here before long, and with a region championship on the line. And you got to think, and this is thinking probably way ahead, that Upman's got the upper hand with some of the scores we've seen with Stone.
Yeah, the key to defeating Upperman is trying to put the points on the scoreboard with them. If you can get any sort of momentum going against them, and the only team in Region 4-4A that they played so far that's been able to do that really has been White County. Right. When Trip Pinion there was able to score a little bit for him because of his dynamic style of offense, but other than that, they've given up 14 points or less to every other opponent that they played in Region 4-4A.
And when you look, you've got DeKalb sitting there right now in that 4th slot trying to hold on to that 4th seed. But, Murphy and I have talked about that. You and I will talk about it now. DeKalb as a number 4 seed is very, very dangerous.
I would expect whenever they go down to those Chattanooga areas for Region 4-3A, that those teams need to be on notice. Any of the top 4 teams that come out of here, and we're going to have a quality football team. Don't be deceived by those 4-4 records of DeKalb County and White County.
Right.
There's going to be a high-quality football team who's going to miss the playoffs. And all those teams in Region 4-3A, even if you're the 1 or 2 seed, you don't need to be comfortable being at home playing those games against a Stone DeKalb or White County.
Yeah, you were saying 4-3A, but it's 3-4A. When you look at those teams, that's East Ridge, Hickson, Loudon, Red Bank, Sequoia, Signal Mountain, and Soddy Daisy. All, when you look at those, the records that they have, and maybe against some tougher opponents, I don't think there's much doubt that Region 4-4A in our area, and maybe even in the state, has probably top to bottom the best, that there is as far as region plays.
And that argument could have been made last year before White County, who was a quality 5A team, a playoff 5A team, with Mr. Football finalists, bumped down into this region, and that just, increased the difficulty that much more. There's not a lot of 7-team regions across the state either. This is the largest region out of our area, out of the teams that we cover. And again, the quality of competition across the board, is pretty phenomenal.
Now let's go ahead and look at the scores. NBA over Lipscomb, a big win for the Big Red. Boyd Buchanan beats Lakeway Christian. Knox West goes for 2, gets it, wins 8-7 over Anderson County. And then Henry County goes for 2 in overtime on just a kind of a flea flicker play and beats Beach 46-45. Some awful good ball games right there.
Yeah, whenever I was trying to pick out some of these extra scores to look at, Boyd Buchanan is undefeated this year, and there with Gary Rankin leading them. And then, Knox West, defending 5A champion, Anderson County, former 4A champion, those both reigning supreme in their respective classes, and just some phenomenal finishes there. I watched the highlights of the Henry County Beach game. Those offenses made some plays, some amazing throws by the quarterbacks, and some moves out in space by some of the running backs. But yeah, again, you get into overtime, Henry County scores, and they decide that we're going to end the game here in one overtime.
And we'll take a look at the region schedule when we return here to the box score. And also, since Murphy's not here, Justin and I get to do some picks. You're watching the box score.
Community Wellness Clinic is a nurse practitioner-owned and operated full-service medical clinic. Our emphasis is on good health and wellness throughout every generation of your family. We strive to provide the expert quality of care that our patients deserve and expect. Along with primary care services, we also offer a full complement of urgent care services. Let us be your family's good health partner. Community Wellness Clinic in Woodbury. Phone 615-563-7515.
Your trusted friend for all your grocery needs in Smith County is Carthage Safeway, your home-owned and home-operated supermarket. From the delicious USDA steaks in their meat department to the freshest produce around, Carthage Safeway is proud to serve you and your family. Todd and Angela Skurlock and everyone at Carthage Safeway are always there with a friendly smile and a helping hand. Great service, prices, and selection. That's Carthage Safeway, 80 Dixon Springs Highway, Carthage.
If you're a commercial driver looking for a company to call home, Huff and Puff Trucking is the company for you. Our employees are professional and dedicated individuals that take pride in what they do. We offer an outstanding pay package with a dispatch structure that maximizes your home time. To learn more about a company that knows you by name and treats you like family, call us at 1-800-965-5033 or visit our website at huffpufftrucking.com.
And welcome back to the box score. Terry Collins along with Justin Malden. We've been joined by Watertown High School Athletic Director, Mr. Eric Trusty. And Eric, first of all, welcome in.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Eric, I know you wear a lot of different hats this time of year. You got a lot of different sports. Of course, everybody thinks about football, but you got soccer, you got golf, you got volleyball. There's several fall sports that keep an athletic director running.
Oh, definitely. We're all over the board. We had a big win last night in girls soccer over Stone Memorial. Got us in the semifinals of the district. So we got a big game tonight against Livingston, and we pulled the upset tonight. We'll be heading to regions. So those girls have worked really, really hard. Coach Fish has worked hard with them this season. The past couple of years, we've been very fortunate in girls soccer. We've qualified for regions the past 2 seasons in 1A, which was the first time we've ever done it in school history. So we were very proud of that. And then we moved up to 2A this year, and we've been kind of rocking and rolling with that. So we have a chance to go to regions tonight with them. So we're all very proud of them. They've all worked very hard, and they deserve everything they get.
Eric, I know that you guys have got a lot of different offerings that take place during the fall. I know we focus primarily on football. You're talking about girls soccer. I know that you've got golf and other things as well. What all activities do your student athletes have the opportunity to participate in there at Watertown?
Everybody, you're right. Everybody focuses on football in the fall, but we do have girls soccer. We have boys and girls golf. And volleyball. Volleyball this year didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to in the past. We still had a good season. Girls worked hard. We got kind of put out a little bit earlier than we wanted to, but I'm still very proud of them, how they played. Golf team did great. We did very well in districts. We have a young lady, Isabella Parsons. She qualified for state. She came over second overall in the region in golf, and she'll be heading up to Pigeon Forge into this week to play in the state championship. So we're proud of her for that. Of course, football team. We have some good athletes on the football team. Things haven't worked out for us the way we want to in some of the games, but we've been in there. It's been tough. Moving up to different division all across the board is kind of, it's been a kind of a learning curve for us, but our kids are adapting pretty well. We got a big game with Grundy County Friday night. So we're looking forward to that, and I know the kids are, and they've been in here practicing all this week. Basketball's they've kind of been in here working out a little bit too. So it's that time of year where we're everywhere, and we got student athletes representing our school very well in whatever they do.
Eric, when you look at the 5 teams that are in your region, you got Community, you got Giles County, you got Grundy, you got Sequatchie, and yourself. It makes it a little bit easier than that you only have to have one win, but your travel budget has got to be tremendous for the next 2 years, this year and next year, because there's not a close drive with any of those schools.
No, that was one thing whenever, we were sitting there trying to figure out where we were going to be, where we were going to go west to Nashville, or we're going to kind of get with these communities. We don't have a single region game within an hour and a half of us. Coach Webster did a good job this year of kind of making a schedule where, we're kind of going to 2 of them, and 2 of them are kind of coming to us and all that. It's tough, but honestly, we've got, some good competition. These new schools we're kind of learning. They've been, very welcoming and open. We've worked very well with them, and we're in a pretty tough region. Like I said, you're right. We really need one good win. We had a couple wins there we should have had, and but woulda, coulda, shoulda. But we finish out this season. We got a chance to go deep in the playoffs, and we're looking, like I said, we're looking forward to it, and we're all proud of them over here about what all they've accomplished.
You made mention of looking to get to the playoffs. I know when you look at your regular season schedule for Watertown, not a lot of easy games on that schedule. You're in a very difficult region, but when you look at the non-region schedule and you're scheduling Macon County and DeKalb County and Lebanon, and you're playing up to those 4A and those 6A schools, how important is it to get those marquee matchups of teams that are close to, that make a little bit more sense from a financial perspective, but also to increase the quality of play on the field?
Well, I mean, if you want to play, to an upper level, you need to, play against, competitive upper level teams. And I think, scheduling these teams, they're local, which is good, when it comes to that sense. But, one thing we talked about is, we want those local rivalries. We want those people that we know that we can bring in. We know we're always going to be great competition. The Lebanon game this year, some people looked at it as kind of weird whenever we booked it. But, if, those that were at the game, it was a pretty tight game there till right there at the end. We hung in there with them. And, it's good for those kids to kind of have that, familiarity with the people and the teams, and, we're building these new relationships with these teams in our region, but then they're an hour and a half away. It's hard to kind of get those rivalries built up when they're an hour and a half away from you. So having those local teams that are definitely competitive, that can push our kids, and we get that experience when it gets tough. Hey, we've played these bigger teams. We've hung with them. So when we're playing teams, that within our region and going forward, we've been in those situations where we've been tested. And I think in the long run, that's going to wind up helping us.
Eric, you're in your second year. I know the experience from the first year, had to really help you this year. But when you look, you get familiar with coaches, you get familiar with teams, and which is what you have to do is communicate between those. Well, you just had to scrap the list in football and scrap the list in basketball, basically, because it's a new teams that you're facing in both the district, in basketball for the most part, and then in football, of course, we've already talked about the not close proximity that your teams are having to travel.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same with all our sports, volleyball and soccer. We've had to basically, a lot of our teams are from Cumberland County area up in Crossville. So we've had to deal with them when it comes to that. Basketball, we got some familiar foes from the region. We just kind of moved district a little bit. I had them in there. We still got Smith County, which is always going to be tough. And then, we had Jackson County and York and Monterey. So, I mean, they're close, but not close at the same time. But like I said, we've had experience with them, especially in the region. Last year in basketball, us hitting York in the region finals and all that. So it's something that's new, and learning these teams and learning these folks and everybody we've been around has been great. So building those relationships are nice. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of years. We'll see how things fall out if we stay or move or do whatever. But yeah, so far it's been a pretty positive experience, and getting to meet some new teams and then having some kind of rivals that we wouldn't meet till later on in playoffs. They're kind of up at the front now and kind of important for us to play. So like I said, all the way around, it was kind of nerve-wracking at first when we kind of figured out where we were at, and it's overall it's been positive, and I think it overall helped our kids with the competition that we have to play.
Basketball, we're mixing up districts. Football, we're mixing up regions. But for you guys have had a lot of consistency with your coaches. I know one thing that was first time that's happened to me since I've been working with DTC Sports is this is the first year that I didn't have any of my football coaches change, my basketball coaches change. And I know for Watertown, across your athletic department, you had some consistency over the past couple seasons with these coaches staying in-house, building rapport, being able to build up the programs. How important is it to keep those same coaches in leadership roles year in and year out?
Oh, I think it's extremely important. Before I got here, the football program with Coach Webster, was, I've from my experiences, hearing, it was one of those things. So having Coach Webster, being consistent, and our coaches, it's good for the kids to have a consistent person that they can then go along with. Adding Coach Honeycutt last year, the basketball, that was, Mr. Brown, and we sat down and talked to him. He knew that was the guy that he wanted, and it's worked out great. He's been great for the basketball program. He's working with the community. He's getting his hands in the community, getting those kids interested in basketball. And Coach Keller with the girls, consistently building. Our girls team, I'm excited about them this year. We have a lot return. And he's, been working with them, building them up. You know, Coach Fish with soccer. You know, he's done great things with the girls program. Coach Perisher stepped down he kind of retired from coaching boys this year, and so we have Coach Fish filling in the spot for him. So we're hoping that we can translate that girls what with that program, move it over to the boys. But it's just having that familiarity. The kids know they're, for the most part, all of our coaches are in-house. That's one thing we try to do is make sure our coaches are in-house so they can interact with the kids every day. It's good for them to do that. You know, Coach Tuggle with volleyball, she's been consistent with her performances with that. You know, we're expecting, you know, regions and states in volleyball and golf. We had to move Coach Price stepped down from golf this year, so we moved in Coach Martin, and he's been great. He's kept the flow going. So overall, just the consistency across the board is great. You know, the familiarity, we know how things are ran. The kids understand, and they kind of grow up with them in the process. And we got a bunch of coaches that love them and push them, and that's what we need.
Well, Eric, we appreciate you visiting with us, and best of luck to Watertown in these fall sports.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all.
Okay, we'll take a look at the Huff and Puff Trucking Game of the Week, and we'll get the Gurus matchups when we return to the box score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway.
What is your emergency?
I think I'm being robbed.
Sir?
These big home security guys want way too much money from me.
Let's connect you to a local company right away.
It's a crime what big national companies charge for home security.
For just $49.99, get a system with a touch keypad, 3 window or door sensors, motion detector, key fob, and standard installation.
Help is on the way, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Switch now and save. Call or visit DTC Security online today.
Community Wellness Clinic is a nurse practitioner-owned and operated full-service medical clinic. Our emphasis is on good health and wellness throughout every generation of your family. We strive to provide the expert quality of care that our patients deserve and expect. Along with primary care services, we also offer a full complement of urgent care services. Let us be your family's good health partner. Community Wellness Clinic in Woodbury. Phone 615-563-7515.
Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville is hiring. We have open positions for chief geologist, general mine foreman, mine engineer, graduate mining engineer, electrical superintendent, mobile superintendent, mine supervisor, and more. We offer competitive wages, excellent benefits, PTO, holiday pay, exceptional 401k, and lots more. Make the most of your future and your career. Join the excellent team at Nearstar Middle Tennessee Mines in Gordonsville.
And welcome back to the box score, brought to you by Carthage Safeway. And Justin and I, we're going to look at the games that are upcoming. Of course, a lot of those, we're looking at Clay County at Red Boiling. Clay County definitely a favorite there, but Red Boiling, you know, not your normal Red Boiling, Gordonsville Joe Burns with the bye. Let's go ahead and look at Region 3-2A, Westmoreland at Smith County, a game right here on Huff and Puff Trucking. Game of the week on DTC Sports, Trusty County at Monterey, East Robertson at Jackson County. Region 4-2A, Cannon County at Cascade, Nashville Christian at Fayetteville. Open this week is Forest and Marion County. I think there's only about 75 games this week in the state of Tennessee. Grundy County is at Watertown, Community at Giles County. Open date, the Indians of Sequatchie County. Looking at Region 4-4A, you got Upperman at White County, and then you've got 5 teams on a break this week: DeKalb County, Cumberland County, Stone Memorial, Macon County, and Livingston. Justin, let's go ahead and look at these the game of the week that we've got coming up. We got Westmoreland at Smith County. Of course, that's been a region battle for quite a long time. And Westmoreland's down a little bit this year. Smith County's sitting there at 6-2, 3-0 in the region, but a very big ball game for them.
Yeah, again, because of the way that the region schedules were controlled by the TSSAA this year, and we're closing out with region games for each of these, this game right here, if there's an upset, I mean, it changes the landscape of this region completely. Right. So Westmoreland they've got 2 losses in the region already, but a win here and then a win to close out, and they could really be a chaos maker here in this region.
Definitely could. Of course, Smith County's got, if they do lose to Westmoreland, they got to turn around and beat Monterey to stay in that first place tie with East Robertson, and then you, by their 14-7 win in Cross Plains, would get that opportunity to be the region champ. Let's go ahead and look at some picks. And Justin, I'm gonna let you start with the Middle Tennessee picks.
We're gonna start up with Trousdale County at Monterey. Again, a region game that we just talked about. Coach Satterfield out there in Hartsville. I know he's having to deal with some injuries as he goes in there to play the Wildcats of Monterey. And I think going in that atmosphere and the way that Monterey is playing right now, I'm gonna have to take Monterey in that game.
Go ahead with all of them.
And we've got a couple cross-county games up next. Lebanon at Mount Juliet. Chuck Gentry has got his Blue Devils playing well right now, but the Golden Bears of Mount Juliet are playing some fantastic ball, and I think that they are the king of Wilson County right now, football-wise, and so I'm going to take them over Lebanon. And then we've got Blackman traveling to Riverdale there, a clash in Murfreesboro. I'm going to look for Blackman to pull that one off. And then we've got Siegel at Beach. I don't think either one of those teams are where they want to be at 4-3 and 3-4 each. I think, though, Beach has had some close games. Siegel's 2 region losses are both by a touchdown or less. When you look at them, both of these teams are going to be looking for a win there, and I'm going to take the Buccaneers of Beach in that one. And then I talked about York and Stone Memorial this week. Did not even realize that York and Friendship Christian were playing. So we've got a Division II school that's going to be hosting the Dragons of York Institute, and they're going to be making the drive from Jamestown into Lebanon. And the Commodores there, that's going to be a very difficult game for them. But I think that the Dragons of York are going to come in there and upset the Friendship Christian School.
Of course, that's a 2-hour drive. Let's go ahead and look at some other picks, and I'll make those. County at Cascade should be a close game, I think. Both teams have struggled this year. I know Murphy, out of homage to him, I'm going to pick the Lions because he picks them every week. I think they're playing the Tennessee Titans. Murph's going to stick with the Lions. Of course, that's where he lives over there in Reedyville. Westmoreland and Smith County, I got to take the Owls. Smith County's been playing well. They've got 2 losses to Class 4A teams in Macon County in overtime, and again to Upperman. And then Grundy County at Watertown, I got to take Watertown in that one. Feel like they've got the upper hand, but when you look, Justin, when we pick these games, injuries that happen maybe early in the first quarter, we can't weigh that, but sometimes it is huge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You never know. In this case, any given Friday night, anything can happen. And for some of these schools, these smaller schools that rely heavily on 1 or 2 athletes, if one of those athletes goes down, if your playmaker goes down, the whole scheme changes, the dynamics of what your game plan changes, and sometimes it's difficult to recover from.
Well, Justin, go ahead and as we get out of here, let us know about where, if they want to find the games, where they can find those.
So you can watch live every Friday night through the regular season right here on DTC3, but also you can see it on our Facebook page for DTC Communications and at DTC3.tv, and also online at DTC3.tv is where you can find our complete schedule, and you can find out all sorts of things about what we've got going on with DTC3 programming.
Thanks so much for Justin Malden for filling in for the absent Murphy Fair. We'll also thank our top sponsor, which is Carthage Safeway this week. And until next week, for Justin Malden, I'm Terry Collins. Good night on the Box Score.